Hey guys, girls and everyone in between, and welcome back to Nimby Rails. My name is Sarah, and in this series I will take you on a journey through Europe. In the last episode we connected Šiauliai with Daugavpils, and today we will focus on the other side of the city of Šiauliai. Everything west of the station is today's focus, Klaipeda being the most known city of the region. Welcome to Lithuania. By now, most of you know my feelings for the Baltics. I can't wait for Rail Baltica to be done in a few years to be able to go to Kaunas, Vilnius, Riga and Tallinn by train. But in Nimby Rails, the Baltics are a region I'm slowly tired of. That's why today we are working on Klaipeda and the coastal region west of Šiauliai. With roughly 170,000 people living there, it is a proper city with a potential for a lot of passengers for our in-game network. When I looked up the city just for some information for myself, the history is just wild. I do play a bit of Hearts of Iron 4 and I always remembered the Memel or the Memeland. Well, that's modern day Klaipeda. And if you don't play Heart of Iron 4, but you play Age of History 3, well, Prussia was also here. For me, as a German, it feels weird to see so much German history on a city so far away. Do I want Germany to expand again? No. Please, no. I want borders to stay where they are, and to get softer, but to stay. In more modern times, the Soviet Union also wanted this city before Lithuania turned free. Even nowadays, this region is still not safe from yet another war and change of ownership. But all I can hope for is that Klaipeda stays Lithuanian and also stays European forever. Well, forever in a human scale at least. The modern day city districts of Klaipeda even connect with the old German villages of the region, which is an interesting history fact, and history-wise I approve it, but when you remember what the Germans did, well, it has a little bit of a bitter taste. Traffic-wise, the city is super interesting. A harbor with ferries to Sweden, Denmark and of course Germany. They have electric buses from local production, which is a very cool and small detail, and it always makes me wonder how far is Germany really behind everyone else. Long distance buses and the train lines to Šiauliai and Pagėgiai, well, I don't know how to... Pagėgiai? Yeah. A train line to Pagėgiai is also present. All in all, I would even visit the city if I was there in the region. But let's get back to the building. I focus on the station area and everything outside will be added later. The station and the small yard are a good foundation for the traffic that will run here. From the north arrives the line from Šiauliai, and towards the south we have the line to Pagėgiai. I will get closer into the details when setting up the lines, but there's a lot of single tracks laying around. Single tracks in your area. Oh, sorry. No, please, just ignore this joke ever happened. You know how much I love single tracks, and if I would have to rate it out of 10, it would be a very solid 0 by now. I can't wait to get into regions with more train tracks, more lines, and more complexity. When we already talk about this topic, would you like to see Poland next, or Finland? I could not decide yet, because I don't know where to go. So yeah, this is how it looks after a 3-hour session of building. A bit weirdly shaped circle, maybe an oval, not too sure, but this is it. At least for the coastal area. 3 lines, not too much tracks, and a major city. Let's get into the line creation. First of all, I created the line between Šiauliai and Klaipeda. This route will be probably the most used of the 3 new ones. I checked every station for double tracks or single tracks and took my notes so that I had a list of stations for trains to pass. While at all the stops, I already thought about what trains to use. We have the Stadler flirt sets, and we also theoretically have the City Elephant of the jet rail. I forgot to add a few switches, so I had to jump into it, but nothing too major. After adding all the signals, I at least hoped that the line would be ready, but most of it was created with me just watching YouTube next to it, so there were a few mistakes that I had to fix later down the line. After making sure the very first line is set up properly, I jumped right to the next. Again from Šiauliai, but this time to Peajiai. Also here the same thing, single track everywhere and double track stations, so I also made my list once again, and that's also a good tip I have for you. Always know where your locations are for overtakes. The last thing I had to do was to add the last line from Klaipeda to Peajiai, and once that is done, well, it is basically now the same oval, but in a better color. So let's jump a little bit of time and let me edit all the lines and set up schedules for it. This is how beautiful it can fade into a working network. I decided to let the speed run a little bit faster, so that all the trains would spawn in, and I already found the very first problems right away. Here you can see that I had to work out a way how to get the trains not stuck there. I hoped for a delayed train that caused all of the problems. I sped up the time even more, tried out even more, and before I even could do anything, there was the next problem with the signaling. This is a very good negative example for why you don't want to set up your schedules blindly, because I decided that it would be better if I just let it run, and it caused a few problems. I missed a few one-way signals, which you can see here I had to add so that the trains could pass each other in the passing loop that was there for trains to pass. Yeah, it's logical of course, but if you have a 3-hour building session and you watch YouTube next to it, sometimes you miss those small little details, and it just continued all the way. I had more and more problems the more time I passed. After adding those 2 one-way signals, I had to jump back right to a different line to fix the timings over there. This time it was the line from Šiauliai to Peajiai, and I forgot to add a waiting time to the end of the line, which basically just caused everything to go back into delay, and that's how I basically spent half an hour after that, adding a few double track sections to relieve myself of needing to reschedule a lot and to just let the trains pass over these double track sections. This is the easy fix for single track sections. Just add a second track, make it partial, add a signal, proper signal, one-way signal, then you basically fix the problem. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and we will see each other again in the next episode of Nimby Rails. Bye bye.